Welcome to Christiankarate.biz. I'm Nathan Brown. I lead Wake Forest Christian Karate in Cubido, in Wake Forest, and in Raleigh. With me is Tashi Bill Brown, who leads Jonesboro Christian Karate in Cubido. Today we just wanted to visit a little bit about why we do what we do and what is it that we actually teach. Now, Bill, you've been teaching since 1987. You started your first class in Sherwood First Baptist in Arkansas. Now, why is it that you do what you do, and what is it that you actually mean by Christian karate? Why do you teach at churches?
That's a good question. I really believe that karate can be used as a ministry. Can be used as a ministry. Can also be used as an outreach for the church, but an outreach for Christ, and give Christians and non-Christians a place to come and train. A lot of people, they have some misconceptions about karate, and some of those are well-founded. I think it's very important for someone who's bringing, especially their children, but even adults, into a karate or Kubido class, that they look very close at who their teacher is, and what their teacher is teaching, how their teacher teaches, that they do not get involved in the Eastern mysticism and things like that. I've always wanted some type of outreach, some type of ministry. I'm not a doctor, I'm really not a carpenter or a plumber or electrician, somebody that can go places and use my skills as an outreach for Christ. But with karate I can do that, and I actually have done that in Afghanistan. But when I first began studying karate, I always wanted to be a black belt in karate, and you see all the movies and everything, and I really wanted that skill since I was very young. Never had the opportunity to train. Off in the military, had an opportunity to train, and then, met my teacher in 1982 and became very involved in this system, and had been with my teacher since that time. But when I really met my teacher and I really got serious about karate, that question began to haunt me a little bit. And so I knew this was something I wanted to do. And I knew that I was going to try, physically to emulate my teacher. And so I went to my pastor, Dr. Truman Moore in Fort Smith, a wonderful man. And I asked him, I said, Dr. Moore, this is something I always wanted to do. Now I've started doing this, but I'm struggling a little bit here, that I'm a Christian and I'm supposed to believe that God will take care of me and have that faith. Mm-hmm. And yet here I am training in karate, and I'm struggling with this a little bit. And what advice can you give me? What direction can you give me? Should I just walk away from this? And of course he said, well, Bill, karate is one of many forms of martial arts or fighting skills. So there's a lot of Christians here in America who not necessarily study karate, but they study wrestling in high school and in college, or boxing, and it's just another form of a fighting skill or a self-defense skill. But he said, let's talk about it a little bit. He said, do you believe that if you were standing on a railroad track and a train was coming and the conductor was blowing the whistle, trying to warn you to get off the track, do you believe, Bill, that God has the power to reach down and grab you and move you physically off that track to protect you? And of course I said, yes, Dr. Moore, absolutely I believe that. He said, okay. He said, then you understand that God gifted men a little bit different than he gifted other animals. He gifted men with the ability to reason. We sometimes call it common sense. He says, if you're standing on the railroad track and the train's coming, he said, do you believe you should test God and stand there and wait for him to move you, or do you think he gave you the common sense to take self-evasive action yourself and move off the railroad track. So I just grinned, and he said, so I guess you have your answer. And I said, yes, sir, Dr. Moore, I have my answer. Thank you very much. So, you know, I feel like a karate class can be a place where Christians and non-Christians can come, and teaching in a church setting like we do, it's just a tremendous blessing that to be able to do that in a nice facility. But I feel like it's a place where people can come, and a place they can belong, and a place that they can fellowship together, a place that they can, you know, really build a family type, you know, I'm using a loose term there, but a family type atmosphere where they feel like they belong to something, and I can share my burdens with you, or I can share my good news with you, and have other people there that really rejoice with you, or pray with you, or you know, or help you with problems and things. I also believe it's a place where, you know, unfortunately in our society we have a lot of homes that are broken homes. We have a lot of homes where, you know, the father has walked away, or the father is a negligent or abusive father, and or mother. I mean, it can be a lot of types of broken homes, but I believe this can be a place where, you know, in particular, young men can come and spend time with other Christian men, and can see how Christian men treat other people, and the respect and things that they have. I think it can just really be a tremendous outreach for especially young men, but kids of any age. You know, Dr. Moore, when I was visiting with Dr. Moore, and we talked about that, and he said, you know, Bill, sometimes people think, Christians in particular, Christians think, they believe that if you're a Christian, you're supposed to be this very weak and meek, you know, humble person. He said Christians should be humble. He said Christians should be meek. But he said people lose the sight of the difference between weakness and meekness. Christ, you know, was the best example ever of meekness. He truly had power to call down legions of angels, and they chose not to. The great example of meekness and humility. He said, Bill, Christian men need to be masculine men that lead and set examples for their sons, but also for the younger people that they come in contact with. He said, I think this could be an excellent way for you to do that.